a high-intensity workout in the gym will deliver similar autophagy benefits to a 48-hour fast. Okay, we talked on a previous Breather show about my experiment that began in early 22, so it's now a year and a half and counting, where I made a deliberate attempt to do away with restrictive dietary practices that I'd adhered to or dabbled in the past, such as fasting, such as keto, and instead striving for maximum cellular energy status by increasing my intake of nutritious foods, especially switching the morning fasting protocol to instead slamming a huge bowl of fruit and making a huge high-protein smoothie with my B.rad Superfuel every day, a deliberate attempt to fuel up. Not that I was hungry or starving for all this food in the morning, because I was so used to years of not eating much or not eating anything for many hours after waking up, thinking I was doing myself a good service to become more metabolically flexible. But my mindset has changed. And in this show, to wrap up the previous discussion about it, I'd like to highlight some of the work and some of the evolving attitudes and messages by many of our great leaders in the ancestral health space. And I got to put Dr. Tommy Wood up there at the top, along with Jay Feldman. Jay Feldman having done 4 recent podcast episodes and really getting me to rethink and reflect on some of the major messages that have framed the popularity of these restrictive diets. But first, Tommy Wood, because he was telling me this stuff back in 2017, and some epic takeaway quotes from our great series of podcast interviews back then. 2018, we did the podcast. 2017, he was consulting with me with this comprehensive health consulting service. And he said, look, here's what I tell my active hard training athletes. I suggest that they strive to eat a maximum amount of nutritious calories every day until they gain a pound of body fat. Then they can dial it back a bit, and that's when you know that you have hit the sweet spot. If you are striving so hard to consume nutritious calories, to eat more eggs, to eat more steak, more fruit, and you add a pound of body fat, okay, you've overdone it a little bit, let's dial it back. And that has not happened to me with my deliberate effort to eat way more calories than I used to. I weigh the same. My body composition has probably improved over the last year and a half. And I contend that's because my dietary strategy has allowed me to perform better and recover faster and burn more calories in general by being alert and energetic and moving and jumping up off the chair and hustling up the staircase to go get another stack of Post-it notes and dashing down, and things that active, energetic people do rather than people who are hanging on by a thread because they're stacking too many stress factors. So it took me years to come around to the beauty of that suggestion for active, energetic folks to eat as much as possible rather than try to get by on as little as possible, for example. And I've said so much about Jay Feldman's influence here. Please listen to our most recent show. I think it was show number 4, where we really came full circle and got the important message beautifully communicated by Jay to strive for energy balance, maximum cellular energy status, and to realize that the benefits of these restrictive dietary strategies and even the hormetic stressors that we celebrate so much, like doing a sprint workout or going into the cold plunge or the hot sauna or fasting or doing keto, these all are driven by a stress response in the body. So yes, you're getting a health benefit when you fast, you're getting a detox, you're getting an improved inflammatory and autoimmune response, but they are coming at a stress cost. And I am now obsessed with my mantra of perform, recover, perform, recover. So I want all my stress expenditures to go to workouts, and in tandem have a dietary strategy that is not stressful, that gives me maximum cellular energy status. Next, we go to the popular YouTuber Mike Mutzel at High Intensity Health. He makes very informative, thoughtful videos and great interviews. And one of his recent videos is titled, I believe it's called Why I Stopped Fasting and What I'm Doing Instead. And he has a very lengthy discussion of his rationale for putting the benefits of fasting aside for someone like him He's lean. He's a competitive cyclist. He has good metabolic health. And he cites very interesting research that we know from fasting that around 48-hour mark, you get this tremendous boost in autophagy and this organ renewal effect where organs actually shrink in size because they are shedding inflamed and damaged cellular material. So autophagy, that's the natural cellular internal detoxification process that is so highly touted, really kicks in after a 48-hour fast. That's something that few people have ever done in their lives. But then the punchline coming from Mutzel when he's talking through the research, it is also revealed that a high-intensity workout in the gym will deliver similar autophagy benefits to a 48-hour fast. So you can go slam for 1 hour in the gym, or you can starve yourself for 48 hours. And I believe Mike had the punchline like, I don't know about you, but which one would you prefer to do? So it's more like prioritizing physical fitness is this emerging theme that we're seeing from other experts too, including Rob Wolf, one of the longtime leaders in the paleo movement, best-selling author, and also did the great documentary about sustainable animal agriculture. And he's now really pumping this theme about lifting more and eating more in pursuit of longevity and disease prevention and all that great stuff. In fact, one of the epic one-liners that's ever been uttered on the B.rad podcast came from Rob, where he says, if you want to live longer, lift more weights and eat more protein, end quote. So let's let that sit there for a while. Dr. Stacy Sims of Stanford University, she does a lot of great research in the area of hydration, and especially the particularities for the female that have been not well publicized or well studied. So it's nice to know that female hydration needs and female dietary and metabolic needs vary according to their cycle and all these other particulars that are kind of not detailed in sufficiently in the books and the things that have guided the movement. So she also makes the observation that the female cycle makes fasting really difficult. And Gabby Reese did a great job highlighting these ideas on her interview with Stacy Sims. So listen to the Gabby Reese podcast and talk about how sensitive the female is to things like calorie restriction or taking long periods of time going without eating. Again, as Jay Feldman reminds us, these are stress mechanisms that happen, and it's already stressful to try to navigate daily life and have variables such as the female menstrual cycle. So there's a little plug from Stacy Sims. I also love the great work from Dr. Ron Sinha on the Meta Health podcast. And the podcasting is a labor of love for him. He's a full-time physician in California's Silicon Valley, taking care of some of the most affluent, hardworking, hard-driving tech whizzes down there in Silicon Valley. So it's a true rat race situation. And Dr. Sinha observes that in his practice, this overly stressful lifestyle pattern is so prevalent with people who are working that hard and dealing with all those rat race and consumerism influences, that when they try to layer fasting into their already super stress, high-powered, high-profile lifestyle, they run into big trouble over and over, such that he is not really recommending or driving fasting and carb restriction and keto as a big tool for these people that need healthy, nutritious calories to get through their busy, stressful, hectic day. And that really pretty much characterizes all of us, when we're talking about the comparisons to the ancestral health example, and our ancestors didn't eat fruit in the winter and neither should we. And you've heard me trash that quote with the idea that we've pretty much done away with the proverbial or the ancestral winter, because we have lights and we have vacations to Hawaii and we have gyms where we're doing workouts and we can go buy fruit at the grocery store in the winter. So there's a point where we can honor the ancestral example, but it has to be adapted into modern life. And when modern life has this much chronic stress, and one of the stress factors that Dr. Sinha points out is rumination, the stressful mental aspects of being in the rat race, that does not layer well with restricting calories or restricting time periods. Then we go to Ben Greenfield, and he points out that the evolved recommendations for protein consumption to help promote that wonderful goal of maintaining functional muscle mass, muscle strength throughout life, you can only absorb around 40 grams per meal, according to what Ben said. I've heard some people say 60, but still, that's not a lot if you are fasting for long periods of the day or following an OMOD or a 2 meals a day strategy. It's going to be difficult to stuff that much protein down if you're only eating during narrow time windows. And with protein being the preeminent dietary goal to get sufficient protein, otherwise you're going to fall apart and feel like crap. That's undisputed, that getting your protein needs met is the number one dietary goal. And then carbs and fat are both way down, in order of priority. Protein's number one. So making sure to get that could crowd out these niche dietary strategies like devoted fasting and even keto, because the research has told us that consuming a lot of protein can kick you out of ketosis, and that's been labeled as a bad thing. And so keto enthusiasts are not only limiting their carb intake, but they're carefully regulating their protein intake, and that can easily put you into an overly stressful, depleted state. I've talked about Thomas DeLauer, where he was a huge proponent. He was known as the keto guy on YouTube and the fasting guy. But look, he's someone who has gone from 300 pounds, metabolically horrible health situation, and he turned it all the way around to become Super Rip City magazine cover model and adorning the many fitness magazines and all the very popular YouTube videos that he puts out. So he very strategically used functional and effective tools like fasting and keto to get the job done and maintain extreme success with loss of body fat. But now, as a super fit, active, energetic hybrid athlete, he is repositioning the use of those tools and communicating this very effectively to other people who are active and energetic and don't need to obsess or go to the extremes with keto and fasting. Peter Attia, with his new #1 best-selling book, Outlive, he says, I've changed my tune. He used to think that diet was the number one thing to focus on for disease prevention, longevity. And now he says exercise is the single best intervention by far. Nothing else even comes close for metabolic health, longevity, disease prevention. Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, she coined this term muscle-centric medicine, or she promotes it very well if she didn't coin the term. And she has a really interesting concept there where she says, if you build and maintain your muscle mass, your body fat will take care of itself. And we've been obsessed with watching our body fat levels as the measurement for metabolic health and overall health. But instead, if you just focused on protein consumption and performing the necessary exercise to put that protein to good use, your body fat, your body composition will take care of itself. That's a wonderful insight. So I still validate all the amazing health benefits that I've written about extensively. I don't have to pull anything or retract anything that have come out of Mark Sisson and I writing about these topics for so long. And they work. They have all the science behind them, but we can't forget that they are working by stress mechanisms in the body. So if you're already healthy, active, and energetic, there's less call, there's less justification for engaging in restrictive dietary practices. I think these 2 breather shows covering this topic should get you pretty fired up to go out there and find yourself some natural, nutrient-dense, high-protein foods. Go to bradkearns.com and download the Carnivore Scores Food Rankings chart. We worked so hard on this to present a tiered ranking system of the most nutrient-dense foods on Earth. You can print that thing out, put it on your fridge, and navigate to the most nutritious foods, and most of all, get rid of the nasty, nutrient-deficient processed foods that mess up your metabolic health and bring you into further dependency on junky calories because your body's not working well and processing energy efficiently internally. Okay, thanks for listening, watching.